Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video today, just going to give you my opinions throughout the course of the transfer window and all that. And obviously we do know that Manchester United do need further more investment in the January transfer window. So obviously we do know Manchester United signed 3 players throughout the course of the summer. You know, we signed Daniel James, we signed Dan Wan-Bissaka, and of course we signed Harry Maguire, and in total it cost Manchester United around 148 million pounds. So I am really satisfied that we've got that experienced centre half in that Manchester United needed. I'm also very satisfied that we did get that current right back in, but I have still got concerns of elements in our current midfield. So we are lacking in that midfield. I think obviously throughout the majority of the summer as well, Manchester United were in search for a current right winger, but it was quite obvious it was going to be hard for Manchester United to address all the problematic areas in one window. Obviously, this has only been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first summer as Manchester United manager, and you can quite clearly say he's still in the process of rebuilding. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, give his overall analysis throughout the course of the window, and he's basically said, he's delighted, with our summer transfer business. He's come out and said, he's not infuriated, with our failure, to sign 2 priority targets on that. And I do, I think Solskjaer, can understand, the frustration amongst the majority of Manchester United fans, including me, why we didn't get, a couple of more new additions to the squad, and a couple of more new additions to the squad. But that's just the way it goes. And obviously, when we haven't got Champions League football to offer, obviously it's going to be hard, to get, all the players, that you do want. So I did say certain players, had reservations anyway about joining Manchester United. But I do believe this season, our expectations, will be to finish in that top 4, or maybe win some silverware. So obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got to exceed these expectation levels this season. I did initially say our aspirations, will be that top 4 in the next couple of seasons, and that this is what I basically said. But I think at the moment, City strides ahead of us. Obviously, Liverpool and that strides ahead of us. So it's very imperative, that we catch up with likes of Manchester City and Liverpool. But I think we'll have a better season this season. I think we'll probably maybe finish in the top 3. I don't think we'll win the league. I'm very sceptical about Manchester United winning the league. I don't think we'll win the league for the next couple of seasons. But obviously, we have got big ambitions for the future. Obviously, we want to get back, to winning silverware, and this is obviously something that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does want to bring back to the football club and all that, and obviously he wants to bring that winning mentality back to Manchester United. But I still believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the right man for Manchester United, and that obviously if it does go wrong this season, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not to blame. You've got to blame the board basically. You've got to obviously blame the Glazers. Obviously people are demanding the Glazers out. They're demanding Ed Woodward and that out, because I do believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was recently talking with Ed Woodward about the lack of a business minister in that current transfer window, because analysing our recruitment policy, it's not very good, especially in the last couple of windows. We didn't get anyone in January. Obviously, we didn't get our number 1 targets last summer, because reflecting back under the Jose Mourinho era last summer, we didn't, obviously, get our number 1 targets, because the board weren't back in the signings that Jose Mourinho wanted to recommend to the football club. And the couple of main factor reasons why it didn't work out under Jose Mourinho, even though he had that, he's a winner, obviously he's got that proven pedigree and all that, it didn't work out under him because he had bad disputes with the board. He had bad disputes with the players and that. Obviously, we had no kind of strategy under Jose Mourinho. There was no winning philosophy under Jose Mourinho and that. So this is a couple of reasons, why it didn't currently work out and that under him. But I know that we've obviously been a toxic club for the last 5 or 6 years, and we have been playing catch up for the last 5 or 6 years. And obviously, we've had different managers with different philosophies. But the main factor is why we have been a toxic club, because we've been mismanaged. And this is, of course, why Manchester United, of course, have been underachieving. But I hope it works out under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because I love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a lot. Don't forget, he knows the traditions of the club. He was a great player for us for 11 years and that. He's obviously got a bit of experience as a manager, and I hope we don't sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer if it does go wrong this season, because we haven't got the structure to keep sacking managers. Don't forget, we've already sacked 3 managers, since Alex Ferguson's retirement and that. And I'm a bit infuriated, that we didn't get a couple of midfielders in that we do currently need. because I did initially say, didn't I, throughout the course of the window, that Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire isn't enough for Manchester United. I did say we need to build on that more, and we've got to get a couple of new additions in that midfield, regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba. I do believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got given a substantial amount to spend in that, so he got given a substantial amount to spend, but initially the board didn't back him enough. The board did not back him up, so it's not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's fault, because we had a lot of midfielders in our agenda. He wanted to recommend at least one midfielder of him, but the board haven't backed him enough, and initially the board have let him down, because obviously the board did assure at the start of the summer that there was of course going to be backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for the majority of the summer. Man United were in search for a technical director and all that, but Ed Woodward has obviously been overseeing our transfer business this summer. Like, it did confirm we failed to get a director of footballing. Obviously Ed Woodward overseen our current transfer business and that, but it's just been the same for the last 6 years. The board haven't been backing the players that Man United do currently want to get in and that, but I do believe the team's good enough at the moment, for us to get a top 4 finish, which is very imperative. We want to qualify for the Champions League this season. Obviously, it's good for us as well. We've got a lot of upcoming players. I do believe this season, the majority of the players are going to get given their chance. The young players, the fringe players, the experienced players, and all that. Because I think the young players, did really, really well throughout pre-season, and that they did really, really well. Did the current young players? Obviously, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, obviously, we've seen 4 players depart the football club. Obviously, we know Antonio Valencia left at the end of last season. Obviously, we do know Ander Herrera left, Marion Fellaini left, and it was initially in our plans, to actually, bring 2 midfielders in that can replace them two. So we actually, obviously, orchestrate on keeping Paul Pogba at the football club, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does know how much imperative player he is. And obviously, we've just recently seen Romelu Lukaku leave the club. And obviously, during Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference, as I did give him an update earlier on, he gave his overarching view on the situation with Lukaku leaving the club. And he said basically Lukaku had to go on that. He basically said Lukaku had to go. We've got a good deal for it and all that, for both parties, and that, this is what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was saying. Obviously, he confirmed that obviously he didn't make one appearance, throughout pre-season, because Solskjaer confirmed that Lukaku hadn't been injured. This is why he didn't make one appearance, throughout pre-season. I think he did say he had some kind of ankle problem, that did Romelu Lukaku. Obviously, he had been fined 2 weeks' wages by Manchester United of around 400,000, due to his refusal to return to training on Tuesday. Because obviously, before he completed his move to Inter Milan, he had been training with the Anderlecht reserves earlier on this week for the past couple of days. Did Romelu Lukaku? He had been training with the Anderlecht reserves. Obviously, Anderlecht is his former club. I think that's where initially, he currently began his career. But I'm very, very glad. It's good business that Man United have got rid of Lukaku. Obviously, we've generated a substantial amount for his departure. We've got around 73.7 million with add-ons included. He's signed a 5-year deal with Inter Milan, and I do believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer hopes for the best for Romelu Lukaku at Inter Milan. As he was currently saying that. Obviously, now Solskjaer did also mention why we didn't, actually recruit a replacement for Romelu Lukaku, because obviously, to prioritise, the development of Mason Greenwood. And obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's confirmed that Mason Greenwood's going to get a lot of chances this season, and that he's going to get promoted into the first team. Because I thought Mason Greenwood, was impressive, of course, throughout pre-season. Was very impressive for the reserves last season. Scored 30 goals in 29 games for the reserves, and very, very good player. But I think the young players are going to really get their chance this season. I think the likes of Mason Greenwood, Angel Gomez and Chon, they're going to be a big part of the squad this season as well. My overarching view on McTominay, Fred and Pereira, I do believe they'll get their chances this season. I still don't know if they're the long-term solutions for Manchester United, so I am very sceptical about that. I don't know if they've got all the attributes to succeed at Manchester United, but I do believe McTominay this season will have a better season for Manchester United. I also believe Pereira should have a better season. I think Fred should have a better season. I know Fred hasn't performed to the same standard level, as he did perform when he was at Shakhtar Donetsk and all that. So what he did at Shakhtar Donetsk, he hasn't really replicated this at Manchester United as yet. But I do believe he should have a better season this season. Definitely Fred and McTominay and that, the better solutions than Nemanja Matic, because Nemanja Matic is a very, very inconsistent player. And obviously we're working on basically getting rid of the deadwood at Manchester United, because he's still deadwood at the club. I did say we need to sell more players, because these problematic players in the football club that do currently need to go. But talking about Matic, too inconsistent, too slow. imbalances that midfield too much. He's aging up. He's of course not getting any younger. So you do now. I've got so many strong reservations about Matic. I know we've got Pogba in our midfield, but I would have been excited about the prospect of someone coming in. Playing alongside Pogba in our midfield, etc. Bruno Fernandes. I'm very, very disappointed that we didn't get Bruno Fernandes, to be quite honest with you. But I did say, like I said on my Man United Chelsea preview, I do believe, the targets we're in for this summer, who we didn't obviously get. I think we'll revive our interest in them in January. So I think we'll be back in for Bruno Fernandes in January, possibly back in for Sean Longstaff. We may even go back in for Mandzukic in January, of course, because obviously, on deadline day, was it yesterday? Obviously, we went in for Mandzukic from Juventus. Dybala now, of course, he's staying at Juventus, but we could still go back in for him in January and that. But I still believe, we need an adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku. But like I said, our midfield, it's a shame Bruno Fernandes couldn't come in to play alongside Paul Pogba. But with Paul Pogba, we do know that his future, remains uncertain with Manchester United. Now, obviously, we do know throughout the course of the summer, he's been relentlessly linked with a move to Real Madrid, and his first choice preference, of course, has been Real Madrid. Now, obviously, we've quoted, what we do want for Paul Pogba. We're adamant he's not for sale. Well, we was adamant he wasn't for sale. But reportedly said, we would accept a bid in the region of around £150 million. Now, obviously, Zinedine Zidane's main priority target. Obviously, we do know the likes of Christian Eriksen's also being linked to a move to Real Madrid. I do believe Real Madrid is his first choice preference is Christian Eriksen's, but I believe Real Madrid's first choice preference is Paul Pogba ahead of Christian Eriksen. Probably Christian Eriksen would be a cheaper solution for Real Madrid than Paul Pogba, because it recently said early on this week when the window was still open that initially early on this summer Tottenham wanted £130 million, but initially said they'd reduced their asking price, and now reportedly they want around £70 million they want around £70 million Tottenham for the current player and that, but I think Solskjaer did reveal he had considered Paul Pogba for the captaincy this season, in a bid to convince him to remain at the football club. Obviously, about 3 or 4 weeks ago now, Paul Pogba's agent Mini Raiola, he came out and said, Paul Pogba's in the process of leaving Manchester United, because he did confirm a couple of months ago, I think it was, that he's seeking for a new challenge. He publicly admitted, that he wants to leave Manchester United and all that. But it was initially in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans, to rebuild a side around Paul Pogba. In the majority of the over 3 years he's been here since he returned from Juventus back in 2016, he has been, mainly inconsistent, but I think he did well throughout pre-season. I think he also did well in that 3 month period when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager. And don't get me wrong, when Paul Pogba's at his best, and we have seen him at his best at Manchester United, he is definitely one of the best midfielders in the world, and he's still got 2 years left in his contract at Manchester United with an option to extend it by a further a year. Obviously, he is our most expensive signing, because obviously we paid £89 million for the player. But like I said, his future still remains uncertain at the moment. I think he's recently, been out with back injuries. Paul Pogba didn't obviously play in our last pre-season game against AC Milan, but I think he should be in contention to play against Chelsea on Sunday. Real Madrid have spent a substantial amount this summer. They've spent around £300 million on 5 players, or over £300 million they have spent. They can still do more transfer activity in Madrid and that, because obviously the transfer window is open for the European clubs. Obviously the English transfer window is shut, but we can still negotiate the sale of players until the 2nd of September and that. So Paul Pogba's future, still remains uncertain at the football club. But I think this season we're going to have a much better season, because last season was a huge disappointment. We finished 6th. Didn't we finish 32 points behind Man City last season? We obviously failed to qualify for the Champions League, but as I have been analysing these games, throughout pre-season, that I can see, the improvements in Manchester United already. I know there's still areas where we are lacking, but I can see the improvements in Manchester United. We look much better in that attacking third of the pitch, because we've got that pace now up front, and that's something we lacked last season was that pace. But we have now got that pace up front. You've got Daniel James with electrifying pace. Don't get me wrong, Daniel James is still a prospect and he needs time to develop. But I think his crossing that needs to improve. So there's still there's still improvements needed in his game. You know, we've got Martial and Rashford with fantastic pace as well. I think, to be quite honest with you, I think Martial and Rashford really need to step up to the plate this season. We need to see improvements in them. I know they did well throughout pre-season, but I think towards in the last couple of months of last season, I thought Rashford and Martial are really inconsistent. So too with Jesse Lingard. You know, he was also very inconsistent in the last couple of months of last season and that. But I did initially say to you, Martial, Rashford, and Jesse Lingard are still the long-term solutions for Manchester United. I think with Martial and Rashford, I think they'll take it in turns, won't they? You know, in couple of, 1-0 play centrally, 1-0 play out wide in one game, and then another 1-0 play centrally and play out wide in another game, and that, because obviously Martial and Rashford can both play out wide, they can both play centrally, but I think the club will orchestrate on playing Martial more centrally. They'll put him in that number 9 because I think he seems to fulfil that number 9 role really well, and he did prove this throughout pre-season. Did Anthony Martial, but we do look much better now because obviously last season we didn't have that pace, is why I wasn't scoring enough goals. I think we only scored 53 goals in the Premier League last season. And we conceded 54 goals in the Premier League last season, and that was the first time we conceded 54 goals in space of 40 years. So that just showed the issues we have defensively. Now we've addressed our defensive deficiencies, which is fantastic. Obviously, we've got Harry Maguire in. Obviously, I do believe Harry Maguire is going to get given his Premier League debut for Manchester United on Sunday. Obviously, Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka, of course, are going to get their Premier League debuts. And obviously, on my last video, I give you my starting 11 prediction for the Manchester United and Chelsea game and that. But I do believe Ollie is the right man for Manchester United. I do believe he can get us back, to being a competitive elite level football club. But hopefully, we can get further more investment in January. We can get further more investment in January in that, which is good, hopefully. But one thing I do believe is that, we've got rid of 4 players since Solskjaer's arrived, and I think, there's more players that need to leave the club. I did say Marcus Rojo needs to leave Manchester United, because obviously Marcus Rojo is one of the problematic players of the club. Obviously, on deadline day yesterday, I was reading a lot of reports about Rojo, and it basically said, Everton were in for Marcus Rojo. Obviously, our valuation was around £25 million. Obviously, Everton can't get him now because the English transfer window's shut, but Everton were in for him. Obviously, I think early on this week as well, Chris Smalling, Everton put a loan bid in for Chris Smalling, but Manchester United had turned this loan bid down. So yeah, Everton, went in for him earlier on this week. But yeah, I think, with Harry Maguire's arrival now, we've got to get rid of at least one central defender, because, we have got a lot of central defenders now in our squad. You've got about 7 central defenders. You've got Maguire, you've got Lindelof, you've got Bay, you've got Rojo, you've got Smalling, you've got Jones, you've got Tuanzebe. So we have got a lot of central defenders and that, but I think we need to at least offload one. But Rojo, he doesn't really get the chances. Now, he was impressive throughout pre-season, I'll credit him in that aspect, but I think his Manchester United career has been mainly affected there with the amount of injuries sustained. So he's just injury prone, basically, like Eric Bay is. And, we've got quite a few injury prone players in the team, like I said. Rojo's, I think, he's just got under 2 years left on his contract with Manchester United. I think he's made about 73 appearances in the Premier League since his arrival from Sporting Lisbon back in 2014. But I think, we can still obviously offload him to a European club, but we are working on offloading Rojo because Solskjaer's allowing him to leave now with the arrival of Harry Maguire. Darmian, I think he's serviced 2 requirements at the club. He's another player, that didn't play throughout pre-season and that. Since he came from Torino in 2015, let's be honest, Darmian, hasn't really been given the chance in a Manchester United shirt. And he's sustained quite a few injuries as a Manchester United player. But yeah, I think we need to at least offload one central defender, because we do know this season Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice centre backs are obviously going to be Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof and that. So obviously now it's going to be hard for Smalling and Jones, to get involved. This is why I think we also need to get rid of Smalling and Jones. Comparing Smalling and Jones, I think Smalling's a better elite level footballer than Phil Jones, but I think they're 2 problematic players at the football club, and obviously now they're not going to get their chances anywhere because of Harry Maguire's arrival. Obviously, with Lindelof as well, but Smalling and Jones have obviously been 2 long-serving players at the club. Smalling's been here 9 years, Jones has been here 8 years. They've both been here since the Alex Ferguson era. They've won everything here domestically. They've won everything here domestically. Phil Jones and Chris Smalling, but they're both aging up now anywhere. They're too inconsistent. It was bad business from the club last season. Giving Smalling and Phil Jones new long-term contracts and that. But it's good that we got Harry Maguire in because, he's a good upgrade, to the likes of Smalling and Phil Jones. With Alex Tuanzebe, I think, due to the, Eric Bay's serious knee injury, obviously, Eric Bay is out for up to 5 months. I think he's out until Christmas time. Due to his injury, we're orchestrating on keeping Alex Tuanzebe at the club for now. Obviously, Alex Tuanzebe did well on his loan spell with Aston Villa last season. I think he did well as well throughout pre-season, Alex Tuanzebe. But a few Manchester United fans, maybe, I said the same, maybe we should orchestrate on maybe loaning a couple of young players out, because it may be beneficial for their future, it may gain them a bit more experience and that. But I'm very delighted with the Harry Maguire signing. We paid £18 million for him. Obviously, he's the most expensive defender in the world. Obviously, he's fulfilling that number 5 shirt as it's confirmed. He's signed a 6-year contract at Manchester United with an option of 7 year. We've obviously more than doubled his wages than what he was on at Leicester, because obviously he's on over... I think he's on around £200,000 a week now at Manchester United. He's Harry Maguire, but I do believe he's going to do well for us. Highly experienced. When we wanted that experienced centre back in, he can play the ball out from the back. His work ethic's good. He's not very fast, Harry Maguire, but I don't think that's a McKeown issue. But so a lot of people said, including myself, that maybe we did overspend on Harry Maguire, but maybe we did. I said 60 or 70 million pounds would have been reasonable, but obviously we paid 80 million pounds. But I think he's going to be absolutely fantastic for Manchester United. And I do believe he can, him alongside Lindelof in our backline, I do believe they can, emulate into like a Vidic and, a Ferdinand, because they were a fantastic centre-back partnership, under the Alex Ferguson and Herrera. But with Harry Maguire anyway, is the best option that we've got in our backline now. But with Victor Lindelof, I've given you my overarching views on him. I think he's flourishing at Manchester United. I think he's obviously been at the club 2 seasons. He also, did well throughout pre-season, did Victor Lindelof. But I think Victor Lindelof in his first season didn't really settle in, lacked that consistency. But I thought in his second season there was vast improvements in Victor Lindelof's game. His distribution was good. He was playing the ball out from the back. His pass accuracy in that was very, very good. And, we did pay a reasonable figure for him. We got him for around £31 million a couple of years ago from Benfica. So I think we look okay defensively now, but I've just got concerns about that midfield. The one thing that's going to ruin me is if Paul Pogba gets injured this season. That's something that's going to really, really concern me. Then I don't know what we're going to do in that midfield. Where's our backup in that midfield? If Paul Pogba gets injured, we've got quite a few midfielders, but for me they just haven't got to that level yet, and I'm still sceptical of whether they are the long-term solutions for Manchester United and that. But like I said, we do look much better in that attacking third of the pitch. With Sanchez, he's obviously staying at the club now. Obviously he didn't play throughout pre-season. Sanchez obviously, I think he'd been injured. Sanchez, he had sustained quite a few injuries last season. I think Sanchez, whilst he was on Copa America duty with Chile, he had sustained an injury and all that at Sanchez, and I think he's been out for the last 5 to 6 weeks. He has been out for the last 5 to 6 weeks, but now obviously we've got more fluidity in our attacking line. Sanchez may start playing good now, so hopefully he can get better, Sanchez. I think all Gunnar Solskjaer was orchestrate on giving Sanchez a new role, maybe playing him as a striker instead of putting him on the left hand side. But Sanchez, analysing him so far since his arrival from Arsenal, back in January 2018, he has been very, very inconsistent. He's lacked goals and that. Obviously, throughout the course of the summer, we tried offloading Sanchez, but we found that very, very difficult, due to his substantial wages, because obviously we know Sanchez is the highest paid player at the club. He's also, the highest paid player in the Premier League, and obviously we have got players, of course, on big contracts. Sanchez is aging up now. Is he 31 years of age? He had 4 good years with Arsenal. He also did well under Pep Guardiola's guidance when he was younger at Barcelona, but hasn't really replicated this yet at Manchester United. But he will get given his chance this season. Probably won't start against Chelsea, but may get the bench and that against Chelsea in that. But analysing our squad, really, it's a good squad, but it's not obviously not good enough yet, to win the league. And we've got to start winning trophies now anyway, because analysing the last 6 years since Ferguson's retirement, we've lacked trophies. We've won the odd trophy here and there. We didn't win out under the David Moyes era. We won the FA Cup under Louis Van Gaal era. Won the Europa League and League Cup under the Jose Mourinho era. Obviously, that came in Jose Mourinho's first season. So we have, been lacking that super where we haven't won the Premier League, since 2013. Obviously, that came in Alex Ferguson's last season, of course. that came in Alex Ferguson's last season and all that. But like I said, regardless of who our manager is, we're never going to be the team that we was under Alex Ferguson. We're never going to achieve what we achieved under Alex Ferguson, for 26, 27 years of success. No one's going to follow Alex Ferguson's legacy, but I still believe Solskjaer is the right man to get us back to being a competitive elite level football club. Obviously, Solskjaer is following Alex Ferguson's philosophy, as you all currently know. But like I said, we've been inconsistent in, the last 2 or 3 windows at least, and, Solskjaer did initially say at the end of March his actual preference was, to get our transfer business completed, by the time we initially went out on pre-season, but obviously, didn't currently materialise. Solskjaer had a strategy. He worked out his strategy at the end of last season, and he said he wanted to, recruit young players to come to Manchester United and that this summer. And he has brought young players in. Daniel James is 21, Wan-Bissaka is 21, or is he 22? Harry Maguire is 26. Harry Maguire is still kind of young because he's obviously, still in his prime and that, but Solskjaer's priority anywhere was to recommend an experienced centre half in. But we have got a lot of, we have got a lot of agent players in our squad anyway. But over the years, a hell of a lot of money has been invested into the football club. I think £968 million has been spent in the last 6 years. Obviously, that's in all the managerial areas. Since Alex Ferguson's retirement, £968 million has been spent, including what we spent this summer under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. So we've just spent just under £1 billion. If you want to include what we spent under the Alex Ferguson era, I think in 26, 27 years under Alex Ferguson, I think Ferguson must have spent around £700 million. So in total, that adds up to obviously way over £1 billion and all that. But a hell of a lot of money is being spent at the club. I do believe we have overpaid for players. To be quite fair, I think we overpaid a little bit for Harry Maguire. I thought we overpaid for Fred last summer because we paid £50 million for Fred. I thought it was reasonable what we paid for Bissaka because I think Bissaka can become one of the best right backs in the Premier League without a shadow of a doubt. And he only made his senior debut with Wan-Bissaka back in February 2018. Obviously, we overpaid for Lukaku, definitely, but it doesn't matter now. We've generated the money back from what we paid for him. Obviously, I thought maybe we did overpay for Pogba a little bit. Well, maybe we didn't because obviously, Paul Pogba did have 4 good years at Chervin, but thinking about it now that he hasn't really been the player as we all thought he would have been at Manchester United, maybe we did, overpay for Pogba. Obviously, we bought Di Maria back under Louis van Gaal era back in 2015. Obviously, we paid just under £60 million for him. So obviously, these are our most expensive signings and that, but like I said, I'm looking forward to the game on Sunday against Chelsea. I do think it will be a close game. Like I give you my score prediction earlier on, I do think Manchester United will probably win by 2 goals to 1 and that. I give you my starting 11 prediction earlier on and that. But like I said, we've not really got any injuries. We've got obviously Eric Bailly with an knee injury. I think recently, Paul Pogba had back injury in that. But like I said, Man United, Chelsea at Old Trafford. This is actually the first meeting between Manchester United and Chelsea on the opening day of the Premier League season, like I said, since 2004-2005. So that's around 14 years ago now. So yeah, it's the first meeting between these two in the opening day since 2004-2005, and I do believe Chelsea won that game by 1 goal to 0. Obviously the fixture last season at Old Trafford, obviously was 1-1 and that. But let's be honest, we haven't got the best of records against Chelsea. Obviously, we drew with them last season at home. We beat them in the FA Cup last season 2-0. Obviously, we drew 2-2 at Stamford Bridge last season, but we've actually only won 2 of our last 13 Premier League games against Chelsea. That just indicates we've got a pretty bad record against them. It seems to be a bogey team to Chelsea, but we usually do well against them at Old Trafford because obviously, I think we didn't beat them last season at home, obviously, but I think under the Jose Mourinho era twice we did beat Chelsea. I think it was 2-0 and 2-1. But that's something else Manchester United have got to improve on this season, is our record against the top 6 sides, because it wasn't really good last season. But with Chelsea, obviously, they've got some problems of their own. Obviously, they've got a transfer ban. They can't do any transfer activity. Well, this window's shut now, so obviously Chelsea have got one more window where they can't do transfer activity. But I think they can do transfer activity next summer and that. Obviously, they got the transfer ban for tapping around minors and stuff like that. Obviously, they lost one of their best players early on in the summer. Through Eden Hazard and that. They did Chelsea. But Chelsea, obviously, appointed Frank Lampard in earlier on in the summer, but they appointed him earlier on in the summer. Obviously, following the dismissal of Maurizio Sarri. Obviously, Maurizio Sarri only spent one season at Chelsea. Obviously, I just don't think Chelsea, were happy with his philosophy and all that. He never had that. But he hasn't. I don't even think he's won out. Well, he has now. Sorry, Maurizio Sarri, because he won the Europa League. But apart from that, I don't think he's really won out else. But I think that was his first major honour last season. Maurizio Sarri's was the Europa League, because Chelsea did win the Europa League last season, so they are in the Champions League this season. They also got to the Carabao Cup final, last season. Don't forget, they did Chelsea, but obviously, lost to Manchester City on penalties. Chelsea, maybe get top 4 this season, so I think they'll probably, finish in the top 4. If not, maybe, the top 5. But yeah, Lampard, is he going to succeed at Chelsea? Lampard obviously knows the traditions of the club, just like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows the traditions of Manchester United, he knows the culture of the club and all that. But Solskjaer's got more experience of manager than Frank Lampard, because obviously Frank Lampard only, started in management, last season with Derby, obviously, got Derby out to the playoff final and that. And obviously, Maurizio Sarri left, obviously now he's gone to Juventus as Maurizio Sarri. But Lampard, he was a great player for Chelsea, he was a long-serving player there. I think he spent 13 years with Chelsea, scored 211 goals in all competitions for Chelsea. Obviously, he's their record leading goal scorer. I think, obviously, he didn't only play for Chelsea during his playing career, I think he played for West Ham, didn't he? I think didn't he begin his career at West Ham, if I'm right. Obviously, he had 13 years with Chelsea in that. I think didn't he have a spell with Swansea as well? I think he also had a spell with City after he left Chelsea, and I think he also had a spell with New York City, if I'm right, did Frank Lampard. And obviously, the majority of his Premier League goals came at Chelsea. I think he scored 147 goals. 147 goals he scored for Chelsea in 177 games. So the majority of his goals, of course, came at Chelsea. Did Lampard. So do you think he will succeed at Chelsea? Obviously, the vast majority of Chelsea fans, wanted him in anyway, because he was a great player for Chelsea, just like Solskjaer was a great, player for Manchester United and that. And I think this is the first meeting between Manchester United and Chelsea, with the two managers, with the two managers that obviously used to play for their old respective clubs and all that. So it is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer versus Frank Lampard. Chelsea have got quite a few injury problems. They've got Odoi out, Callum Hudson-Odoi. They've got Ruben Loftus-Cheek out, and I think they've also got Rudiger out as well. So they've got quite a few injury problems. Like I said, the season the Premier League's back now. Obviously, Liverpool kick off the season this evening against Norwich. Obviously, you've got to say that's Liverpool win. But I think my predictions for this season for the top 4. I think definitely Arsenal probably finish in the top 4 this season. I'm still sceptical about them winning the league, but I think they'll do better than they did last season. Like I said, Arsenal have done really good investment this summer. Some people are backing Tottenham now to win the league this season. Tottenham have been very, very competitive. They've been very, very competitive with Tottenham for quite a long time now, and obviously Pochettino's probably expectations this season probably will be to win a trophy with Tottenham and win a trophy himself, because obviously he's well Premier League proven. He can develop young players and that can, Pochettino, and he's well Premier League proven in that. But he hasn't got that proven pedigree yet of winning any silver. Obviously, Tottenham got to their first Champions League final last season, but Tottenham have done really good investment throughout the course of the window. Like I said, they've got Ryan Sessegnon in, Lo Celso from Real Betis. I think they got him on loan with an obligation to buy. And, they also got Tanguy Ndombele, who just smashed their transfer record on. They also got Jack Clark. There was in for Dybala, but I think, he got called off, so I think Juventus now decided not to sell him, so he's going to be remaining at Juventus. So Tottenham, could be now with a shout this season. This is the best Tottenham team I've seen in this generation, for a hell of a lot of years. But I think definitely if Tottenham don't win the league, they will finish in the top 4. I think Liverpool or Man City could win the league. I think it will be between them two, in my opinion. I think Man United may finish 4th, may finish 3rd, but I don't think we're currently going to win the league and that. But that's just my overall current predictions. And like I said, I've been impressed with Man United throughout pre-season. 6 wins out of 6, 12 goals scored, and only 3 goals conceded. But I want to see improvements this season in Sanchez, Martial, Rashford, Lingard. Also, we need to see improvements from him, and hopefully the young players can perform really, really well this season, because they will all, get their chances. I'm very, very hopeful. Obviously, on my last video, I give you my starting 11 prediction. But yeah, David De Gea will definitely play in goal. Obviously, he's agreed a 6-year contract, which is also, very, very good news. He's agreed a 6-year contract with the club, and I think he's set to earn around 375 grand a week and that. But I think Solskjaer will, for the majority of this season, I think he'll go with the 4-2-3-1 formation. A couple of times he may go with the 4-3-3 formation, but I think, in my opinion, Solskjaer, favours the 4-2-3-1, because quite a few times last season, I think he did go with that 4-2-3-1 formation, did Solskjaer. But yeah, I think definitely Maguire will be playing as Solskjaer's confirmed. Bissaka will play. Daniel James will play. Luke Shaw's obviously going to play at left back because he's our first choice left back. Obviously, he did well last season, won the double player of the season. But I think Pogba will definitely play. He should be fit enough to play anyway. I know he's recently been out with a back injury. But McTominay should play. Mata could start, like I said. Maybe Man United may give him the start, or may. Even if he doesn't start, he could still participate in the game. Obviously, he's obviously going to be reunited now with Frank Lampard. He's Juan Mata, don't forget. And Juan Mata did well against Chelsea last season. I thought he put a good performance in. He was the one that scored our goal last season at Old Trafford against Chelsea. Juan Mata, don't forget, can play as number 10. He can also play out wide. There's quite a few players in our squad that can play as number 10. You can put Marvin in number 10. You can put Jesse Lingard in the number 10. So there's quite a few you can put in that number 10 position. But I think we'll probably play Juan Mata, whether put him in the number 10 or put him on the right. I still think, we'll give him the current chance. With Matic, he may not start, but he may, get given the opportunity again. He may get a chance, to verse his former club. I don't think Sanchez will start, but he could, participate in the game. Rashford will definitely start, in my opinion. Martial will start. I think Daniel James will start, in my opinion. Bissaka will definitely start. So I've already given you my starting 11 prediction, of course, on my previous video on that. But like I said, we've had so much success at this football club, like I said, and I don't like the way the football club has been run in the last 6 or 7 years, should I say. But we're still one of the biggest clubs in the world with a fantastic stadium. We've got we're a massive club. We've got massive revenues and all that. And like I said, we can overspend on players because we're a rich club. We can give players big contracts because we're a rich club and that. But like I said, there were quite a few people saying at the start of the summer, we actually should be a sense built with our current recruitment. But that's my overarching view on the window and that. It has been a shambles as the transfer window. Let's be honest, because we didn't get all the players we want. We didn't fulfil all the areas that we needed to do. We only addressed some of the areas, but we didn't address all of the areas. But not to worry, we've got until January, to get more players into the team, hopefully, and we will currently see what happens. So our main focus is to focus on the outgoings, because there's more players that do need to depart the football club, and obviously focus on this season. After Chelsea, it's Wolves. Wolves is going to be a tough encounter, like I said, because I think Wolves will probably have a good season this season. Wolves, to be fair to Wolves, they did really well last season, got 7th. I think didn't they get qualification for the Europa League, if I'm right. They have got some good players in their team. They've got that like Moutinho, they've got Jota and that. They've got some good players Wolves in their squad. Don't forget they did the double over us last season, did Wolves, but I think they could finish in the top 5, top 6 this season, if I'm going to be quite honest with you, Wolves. But yeah, did pretty well last season. I think Nuno Santo has done a pretty good job. For me, relegation this season, probably Norwich may stay up. I'm not too sure. They could. I think they'll be, obviously, if they don't get relegated, I think they'll be near the bottom half. Well, Norwich just don't think they're strong enough for the Premier League, but you never know. Sheffield United, I probably presume, they'll go back down as well. And I don't really know, to be quite honest with you, but maybe Villa as well. But yeah, and that's really everything to update you today. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribing, as always. And I'd like to thank you guys, for subscribing to my channel. I have hit over 100 now, like I said on my video the other day. I'm currently on 111 at the moment. So I hope to get more in, as I want to. Obviously, I'm building this channel up. Obviously, I've been on this channel for nearly 3 years now. But thank you all for your support anyway. So drop your comments, likes below on the channel, like I said, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very soon. Thanks for watching.